Emma, there are so many stabilizers. Which do I choose? I got you. Let's do this. So the main two types are going to be cutaway and tearaway. And the difference between these two is exactly as it sounds. So cutaway is thicker and therefore it has to be cut away from the fabric versus tearaway is much thinner and it can just be torn right off the back when you're done. So cutaway stabilizer is used for anything wearable. So there's a saying that goes, if you wear it, don't tear it. And that's mostly what I abide by. So basically anything that's going to be worn like t-shirts and sweatshirts are items that are generally thinner. They don't hold their structure naturally, or they're going to go through the washing machine a lot, or just like when you wear it, it drapes differently and it moves around. So basically the stitches are going to be moving a lot. So it needs a thicker backing to help keep those stitches in place so that over time they don't get all wonky and your design gets messed up. Tearaway, on the other hand, is used for items that are either thicker or they just don't go through as much movement as something that you wear would. So think hats, towels, napkins, tote bags. They all have like a little more structure, or a napkin, I would say, doesn't have more structure than a t-shirt, but it doesn't go through the same amount of wear. So when you're using it, it's not moving around quite as much as a t-shirt would. And for that reason, it doesn't need as much structure helping it hold those stitches in place. So that's the main two categories. Now, within each of these, there are more items. Let's talk about those. In the cutaway category, I also have polymesh cutaway. And so this is still cutaway, but it's much thinner than the regular one that I use. And I use it for thinner fabrics like tank tops and baby onesies, because for those items, if I were to use the regular cutaway, you can see the outline of the stabilizer through the tank top when you're wearing it. And I just don't like that look. So for those instances, I opt for this polymesh because it's a little bit thinner, but it still has that hold of a cutaway. And for babies, they are much more sensitive. So you don't necessarily want to use a very structured cutaway on onesies because they're not going to be comfortable with it. So that's why you opt for a poly mesh for babies. I wouldn't use it for everything, but it works well enough for those instances. And sometimes I'll just double up to give it a little bit more structure than it has on its own. So then I have two types of tearaway stabilizer. I have regular and I have sticky. And that just comes down to personal preference. So for items that I would use spray adhesive to stick the tearaway stabilizer to the fabric, I just use a sticky one instead, and it eliminates the need for spraying it with temporary adhesive. So the regular one is definitely much more versatile, but honestly, I had the sticky one first, so I use that when I can. And then lastly, we have what's called water soluble or wash away, and those names can be used interchangeably. It means the same thing. But this stabilizer is just a topper. So whenever you use this, you're still going to need one of the other two, either cutaway or tearaway, underneath your fabric, and then you put this on top of your fabric. So what the wash away topper does is you use it when your fabric is very textured. So think blankets, towels. If you were to just stitch right on it, oftentimes the stitches will get kind of lost in that texture. So you use the wash away and you put it on top, and it gives it a much more crisp, clean look to the design. So your stitches aren't sinking into that texture. And then you can just wash it away with water when you're done with the project and you won't even know that it was there. And that's it for all my stabilizers. Let me know if you have any questions.